Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Draw with T. So today we are doing something very, very different from the usual art. You see here that I have got some golf balls, and I am drawing little faces on those golf balls. So this is a collection of footage of me making some Christmas ornaments. Yeah, out of golf balls. So what I didn't show you in the footage is that I pre-prepped these. So basically, I found some golf balls, it's kind of around a golf course, and so I washed them up. I spray painted them with kind of a white primer spray paint. It's a little different from your usual spray paint. It's kind of got a bit of tooth to it, so it makes drawing on them very easy. And basically, what I'm doing here is I'm just turning these little golf balls into some sort of snowman head ornaments. I kind of just think of them as snowballs, honestly. And yeah, so here I am, sketching away. The footage is going quite a bit faster than usual, so I'm trying to keep up with it here with my commentary. It's the reason that this is so long is I just decided to try and put the whole footage into one episode, rather than dividing it up, because I got a lot of Christmas videos already. So I didn't want to have Christmas videos going up until, late January. So yeah, quite quickly there, got the faces sketched out, and each of them's kind of their own little character. These are all going to be gifts for my family. So I hope they like them. By the time you guys see this, they'll already have received them. So I, hope they like them. I'm sure they would. So here I'm beginning the painting process, and I'm just using some cheap dollar store paints that you can, obviously get for $1 or whatever your local currency is. Just those kind of, couple ounce little tubes. And so this one I'm working on right now is actually a very special one. Instead of doing a little snowball snowman thing, I decided to make a husky. And that husky is based on the husky that me and my family have. Her name's Juno, and she's very, very sweet. And my mom absolutely adores her, so I thought I would make just a little ornament of her for my mother. So that's my mom's gift there. The other 4 are gifts for other family. So yeah, there's no real rhyme or reason to the faces that I made. I just, when I sit down to do these little ornaments, and I've done these before in previous years, I just kind of draw whatever face kind of comes to mind. Since I'm kind of a character designer, I do have a lot of fun just coming up with these little personalized faces. I've seen some tutorials on how to do these sort of ornaments in around the internet, but I've never really seen anybody really go to town on the way they draw the faces, so I kind of pride myself on that. Not that it's particularly unique or anything. So while I'm basically waiting for the big ol' husky ball to properly dry, I'm just working on the other faces here. So I mixed up some orange paint, and I painted in the noses of the ones that have carrot noses, and I used some of that gray to make the eyebrows of the grandpa snowball. I don't know. They don't really have names. And I just keep coming back, and when the paint dries, just apply another coat, and then move on to the next thing. And yeah, it's a pretty repetitive process. I will kind of warn you guys, sometimes the footage, sometimes I kind of go a little bit off frame while I'm painting or doing other parts of the process here. It was just kind of hard to get it in shot. The problem with working with paint, especially these acrylic paints, is they dry very fast. So I was, going fast, and didn't really realize that I wasn't in shot of the camera, basically. And I do apologize about that. I don't normally paint here at my desk where I shot this. Normally I paint at my work desk, which is just behind me. But I had no means of running the cable of my camera over there with any sort of ease, and I basically had one night to get these guys done, so I just made do, worked at my nice table, which made me a little nervous, having water for paints and paints right next to my expensive laptop. You know, a little nerve-wracking there. Little jump cut here as I probably went off and had supper or something, or waited for things to dry. Here I am just mixing up some paints here to do the glasses of the one snowman. Snowball. I don't know if they're snowmen, snow people. Yeah, so just doing kind of an orangey pink here. I didn't have that many colors on hand. I basically had orange, a couple grays, a white. Yeah, and that was kind of it, so I was just working with that. Yeah. So if you guys happen to live near a golf course or something, this is something you can easily do. I've seen a lot of people actually just not even go that in depth with the painting or whatever. They'll just take the golf ball as is, and you know, using a Sharpie or whatever, they'll draw on you know, the eyes and a smiley face, or you know, just like the coal mouth, you know, the mouth made up of several little coals in a row. Then they usually, you know, glue on a hat or something that you can probably find in a dollar store. I've never actually found little hats in the dollar store. If I did, that would have made my life kind of easier, as you'll see here as we move on past the painting of things. And yeah, it's something you can do at home, and you know, people tend to appreciate these sort of gifts around Christmas time. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on giving ornaments as gifts. I'm a little torn on it because it's a nice gift, but you usually get it at Christmas, which means there's only a few days that it's going to be up. So it's kind of a gift you, I guess, appreciate more than next year, which is a bit odd, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes I like to give ornament gifts ahead of time just because it just doesn't make sense to me. My mom's, for example, I gave her it basically when it was done, so she was able to enjoy it for most of the month of December. And I mean, I enjoyed it because it just felt wrong to have it sitting in my room when it could be out on the tree being enjoyed. Yeah, now I'm just you know, applying the black paint, and I'll be outlining the paint here soon just to kind of clean it up. Just because there's only so much fine detail I find you can get with paint and a little brush. I mean, some people can get some amazing levels of detail, but I'm not particularly one. I just don't have the range of micro brushes to get micro details, and it's a little hard working on the dimpled surface of the golf ball. Also, guys, let me know if you enjoy seeing stuff that's not just me drawing. Like, if you kind of like seeing little crafts and stuff like this. I don't do them very often, but I do them every now and then. I just kind of get an itch to put down the sketchbook and, you know, go bind a book, or maybe make a small thing out of leather, or whatever happens to hit my fancy at that time. Christmas, I do tend to do ornaments and stuff. But, you know, obviously not much need to make ornaments any other time of the year. I can't guarantee that I would make more tutorials or, you know, let's draw videos about not drawing stuff. But if there's interest, then I'll definitely, you know, consider filming them when I do them, as opposed to just kind of, you know, doing them off camera. Anyways, here the majority of the husky paint is dry, so I'm now finally getting around to the detailing of that. And yeah, it's fortunately not really much to say about the process right now until we get to the outlining, which I believe is coming up here pretty shortly. It's, you know, once you say that you paint something and you show people how you paint something, that's kind of the gist of it, right? What do you guys think about getting upcycled or recycled ornaments? Does that sound like a cool idea to you guys? I personally really like the idea, partially because it means I don't have to go out and buy anything fancy or expensive. I can literally do a day trip and happen to find golf balls and turn those into something for people. Being a very poor artist, you know, it's a boon for me, although it does take up time to make these as opposed to going out and buying people's stuff. Anyways, here I am now finally getting to outlining them, and this year I tried something new. So I whipped out a whole bunch of Tri-Plus Staedtler outliners or fine liners, And because they come in a bunch of colors, I thought it would look really cool to give this sort of, similar colored outline to whatever it is that I had painted. So, orange around the orange noses, and dark gray around the gray areas, and pink around the pink areas. It's a little hard to apply on the golf balls, and unfortunately later on I did have issues with the Tri-Plus outliner ink coming off even after several hours when it obviously should have dried. But I also had this issue with the Sharpie that I used to outline the black. So I didn't really fix it so much as just reapplied it. And I don't know, next year I might either seal these in with some kind of spray paint, sealer, or I might just, I guess outline them in a very fine black painted line. But I really don't want to do that because it takes so much time and mastery. It's just not really worth it. So I'm kind of hoping that these ornaments don't just get, nobody mashes their sweaty hand against the faces of them, which sounds like it shouldn't happen, but you'd be surprised. It might happen, but oh well. That's just how it is sometimes, right? So now you're probably wondering how I'm going to turn these into ornaments, and that's going to be coming up here very, very quickly. I've seen a lot of people just, screw in a little eyelet, but I don't really have a means of screwing that in, and I don't really like the look of it. So here the camera work is going to get really shoddy as I'm racing against time and trying to do something while trying to get it in shot. So basically, I grabbed a bunch of felt and I cut them into shapes, and I'm gluing them around the snowballs here. I do apologize for the speed; it is kind of jittery here. And I'm basically making little hats for them, and the hats are going to disguise or accent the basically like the little, what is it, the little hangy thing, the little rope that you use to hang the ornaments off of trees. I don't know if those have a scientific name or not, but I just kind of, it looks more natural to do that than to have a little thing sticking out of their head. That would probably work if you're going for some kind of Frankenstein look, but I don't know, it just kind of makes a difference when you can hide stuff like that. Unfortunately, I kind of didn't have string for the first few of these that I made, so I just kind of, made them and then had to use some felt to make the string for some of them, and then I kind of remembered where I'd hidden my yarn, and I was able to, do some yarn stuff for some of them. But this is a very easy hat design to do. Basically, you just kind of cut a tube, make sure that it's long enough to wrap around whatever's the head of the thing you're making. Here I'm doing something a little different from most of them. I'm actually gonna glue the hat down, because as you saw, the other one that kind of had that sort of poofy tasseled stuff at the top of the hat. And that's just basically a design that's super easy to do. Here I realized all the effort and the glue that it took to kind of do the sort of bandana look, and I wasn't too pleased about it, or I wasn't pleased enough to do it again on the others, so I just stuck with the classic design. I usually like to vary things up. I don't like to just do the same hat design for all of them. I like to vary it up, even if I'm not thinking actively about the story of the character. I just like to make things different to imply that, they've got some personality. They're not all the same. Just like how, when it's cold out, you and everybody else, when you step out of your houses, you're all wearing different stuff. Some people like hats, some people overdress, some people underdress. And I just like showing that even amongst, 4 or 5 little ornaments that I make every year. I don't like them all to be the same. So yeah, here I am doing again another classic hat. Basically, you just make a square, you glue it around the rim, and then you put glue on the inside. And if you had string, I'd suggest gluing the string into the inside, and then you basically just mush the hat down. When it's dry, you go back in with scissors and just kind of cut up the top, and that's how you kind of get that little tassel-y look at the very top. And the scarf's pretty easy. You just cut a strip, make sure it's long enough. And then you just kind of, once again, go around gluing the rim. To form the tails of the scarf, there's various ways of doing it. In some cases, I just kind of fold it down, and in others, I actually straight up cut it off and re-glued it underneath, just to get those kind of two looks. And here I'm, just gluing on some felt, and I grabbed my first little snowball, and I'm doing that again here. I don't know if that was the smartest thing to do. I just don't like how it's just glued on there. I would have preferred to have done a little rim around the tassel-y bit. Here I found my yarn and I just glued it straight on to begin with. And that's how I usually do it. And I just, it's just a little bit more secure that way, and you can kind of hide it to there. Like, you see how it's going to get hidden in the hat very nicely as opposed to glued on either side. Yeah, I was kind of... I had to do like an Iron Man challenge of getting all of these kind of done in one night, so by about this point, I wasn't really thinking all that clearly. I could have probably done the attachments of the other ones a bit better, but, it is what it is. Christmas is a hectic time, and when you're doing a lot, especially, I was doing Christmas cards and working and making YouTube videos, it all adds up to like 60-some hours a week, which is not sustainable. But yeah, it's just, here I am, just, like there I cut off both of the ends, and now I'm just gluing in two ends, and I do apologize that they're off. It's kind of off screen. At this point, like I said, I was really, really tired, and I was just trying to get things done. I was actually surprised that I remembered that the camera was running, and I managed to turn that off and not lose any footage or anything. Here things get interesting. Here I'm doing something very different. I've never done this before. I've never done an animal. So here I'm just literally trying to figure out how to do the ears without any sort of pattern or anything. So here, I just keep cutting them down, folding them over, trying to figure them out, trying to make them look like a dog and not like a donkey or a cat or whatever. And yeah, just basically measuring. You can see I've got some yarn, so I'm ready to go to make the a much better hanging string thing. Yeah, so this took a lot longer than I thought, making these little ears. Don't underestimate how long the little details can take you, especially if you're constructing it yourself. And so then Juno has one of her ears, the very tip of it kind of bends down. She doesn't have one fully bent down ear, but she does have, like, the tip kind of bends down. It's really, really adorable. So of course I had to capture that detail. And here I am just kind of gluing on the string. And I think when I did it, I found it was slightly off, so I quickly ripped it off and did it again. I think I kind of burnt myself a little bit there. Yeah, and then, so making the hat. Her hat I put a little bit more time and effort into because, moms are special, so they get special gifts. So here I kind of put a little bit of an upturned rim to the hat, and I wasn't quite sure if I was going to do a hat on Juno here, but I decided ultimately to do so. I had a moment there where I realized I was smudging the Sharpie and the outliner, and that's I wasn't too impressed by that, so I think off camera I might have fixed it up, I'm not sure. We'll find out here. And I'm basically just, again, doing the basic hat. Yeah, here we go. I tweak everything up. And make a mental note to not do that in the future. Weirdly enough, with this one, though, some of the black paint in the eyes actually came off, which was very strange. I don't know if that would naturally happen with the other ones. I did manhandle that one quite a bit. And no scarf for little Juno. Here I am just touching things up. And that's basically it. So happy holiday, guys, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode.